We bring in ESPN NBA feature writer Nick DePaula, who also is one of the biggest sneakerheads you're ever going to meet in your life. So, Nick, you saw the shoes. What'd you think?
You know, it's interesting because they really went all in on the Z concept. So it ties into his haircut, of course, the first letter of his name, and then they're really marketing him as the first Gen Z athlete with Jordan Brand. So for them, it was kind of a cool story. And, you know, colorway-wise, this one's white and black, just nicknamed the Gen Z. But he's got a colorway that's inspired by his brother Noah, colorway inspired by his mom, Sharonda, who actually coached his middle school basketball team. And he says she was the hardest coach he ever had. So there's a lot of storytelling around his family for this first debut. And as everybody knows, it's been almost 2 years in the making. And with all the hype he had coming into the draft, long awaited.
DePaula, nobody has ever maximized the 26th letter of the alphabet than the Jordan Zion 1 after you gave us that description. But given, of course, Zion's history in sneakers under the Nike brand, now, of course, under the Jordan brand, how hands-on was he in the design element and literally the structural integrity of this shoe?
Yeah, so there's two things, right? So obviously a lot of it was done over the coronavirus. So he was on Zoom calls often with either his mom or his stepdad by his side. At one point, he and his mom actually put together a mood board. They cut out different Jordans. They had different like action figures and superheroes he liked, and just kind of giving the brand a little bit of background about what he was really looking for. So that's kind of like the design involvement. I did a Zoom call with the developer, and she said it's one of the most heavily tested shoes they've done in the last 2 years. Obviously, he had the issue at Duke with the PG shoe. And so, of course, they don't want anything to go wrong in this case. And that was something that Nike was super upfront with him about in terms of let's give you all the resources we have to make sure this can protect you on the floor.
Makes sense.
Nick, I want to go back to a story that broke earlier this week, that you broke earlier this week. The report surrounding Vanessa Bryant, the Kobe estate, and them ending their relationship with Nike. So what does this mean for the Mamba brand going forward?
Yeah, it's been quite a crazy 24 hours. So, you know, the deal was actually expiring last week on Mamba Day on 4/13, and Vanessa elected not to renew it. She had an option to do an extension and did not. And I think what we're going to see is they've already trademarked the Mamba brand. They own the signature of Kobe's signature as well. And I think they might try to launch a Mamba brand, which would be an outside entity. They're still in the just starting points of going through those talks. Other brands may come to the table as well, try to pitch them on stuff. But I think for it to be an authentic and grounded in kind of his insight, I don't know if it would make sense for them to sign with Puma and New Balance or somebody else and just start producing Kobe shoes. I think it would have to be something like a Mamba brand. And that was actually something that he was exploring. He knew this deal was coming up at this time. He took a meeting in December of 2019, a little over a month before he passed away. And he was starting to talk to creative agencies around this very concept. So it's something he was looking at seriously, and it's something I think they might go forward with.
Yeah, Vanessa probably had a lot of insight into that as well. So, Nick, quick question, though, because we were talking about Zion's shoe. Are you going to be copying a pair? Do you already have a pair undercover?
These?
I'm in LA right now, and apparently a white-black pair showed up at my door in Portland. So I had a buddy snag them for me. But
oh, look at that!
I'm excited to play them.
Surprise!
All right.
Y'all hating. I'm celebrating. You know, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with that too. I wish I was Nick.
I'm washed up at this point, but I do try to test anything I can just to be mindful of it, for work reasons. But yeah, of course, I got a few pairs of shoes. Yeah.
Well, washed up or not, you're always welcome here on SportsNation. So thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.